Sales is the most lucrative skill in the world, period. The problem is most sales advice out there today is outdated, cheesy, and can even keep you from getting the deals that can make all the difference in your career. This is the No BS Sales School, a podcast for entrepreneurs and salespeople who want to master the skill of selling without all the BS.
So I have this theory, and it's this thing called the 47-year-old problem. The 47-year-old problem. And what happened to me, and I've seen it happen to a lot of my peers, is when you turn somewhere between 45 and, say, 50, and maybe you're an outlier 5 years either way on there, but I call it the 47-year-old problem. It's as good as any, right? What that means is when you're around 47 years old, a lot of us have worked for 25 years at that point. And sometimes we're starting to take stock because 50 feels like a scary number. It's not that scary, by the way. I'm 10 years, or not 10 years past 50, but I'm 7 years past 50. We start to take stock, and you look around and you realize, damn, when I've been working 25 years, so if I started when I was 22, and I thought about where I wanted to be 25 years later, this ain't it. And at that point, and I've seen this with a lot of people that are, in the grind, right? They're lawyers, or they're doctors, or they're salespeople, or they're running a company or whatever. And they say, you know what? This sucks. I'm killing myself over here. And this is not what I thought I'd be doing 25 years ago. And I used, a minute ago, I talked about business owners. And I don't know if it's so prevalent in business owners. Maybe it is. But I'm talking about people that work for the man. They work for somebody else. They've got some, they're salespeople, they're lawyers, they're whatever, and they're working for somebody else. And what they say to themselves is, shit, these people I'm working for, they don't give a shit about me. They don't care. I'm over here killing myself. This is no fun. My life is getting sucked out of me. I'm grinding and grinding and grinding, and this sucks. And I still have, theoretically, 15 to 20 more years to work. At that point, you make a decision. And I've seen people do it both ways, neither right nor wrong. They either make a decision to just say, fuck it, and grind, and just keep going and say, if I just put my head down, keep doing this for 15, 20 more years, it'll be okay. I just got to get through it. And that's one life choice. And the other choice is the one that I made. And again, neither right nor wrong. I believe, honestly, that there are, a lot of times there are neither right nor wrong decisions. I think that no matter kind of what, again, they're illegal, they're immoral, they're stupid, sometimes decisions. But generally decisions are reversible. You can go different direction if you made the wrong choice. But the other decision is to pull the ripcord and say, get me the hell out of here. I got to do something different. And it doesn't mean you change professions necessarily. It doesn't mean that you, go off to the woods and, become a hermit or anything. It just means that you make a change. Maybe, and ideally, you're looking for the greener grass. I knew at age 47 that I was not where I wanted to be. It took me about 2 years after that to actually get out. But I got to the point where I didn't like going to work. I liked the work I was doing, but I didn't like going to work. I didn't like the way that decisions were being made for me, that I wasn't in control. That bummed me out. And I wanted to be able, I had ideas, right? Everybody's got ideas. I had ideas about the way things ought to be. And the person I was working with they were super smart. They were my mentor, right? They'd been my mentor for a long time. And they made decisions that in their mind were the best that could be made for them. But I had other ideas. And I didn't see that working or getting any better over time. And so I said, I could have put my head down. I was making plenty of money. I was in a nice office. I didn't have many cares. But I hated it. And I said, fuck it, I'm out of here. And the wild thing is, that was a really wasn't a hard decision, but it set me down a path that was 50, 100 times harder than staying where I was. Financially, it was a disaster for the first 5 years. I had to create everything from scratch. I had to start over. Started with, zero. No income, no clients, a 3-year non-compete. But I just knew that what I was doing wasn't going to suit me long term. And so it's funny, I have a client, and he's the CEO of a marketing company. And the other day, he said something that was so profound. He said, when I find myself making decisions for the long term, they're usually the right decisions, and they bring me fulfillment. But when I make decisions to help me short term, usually they're disappointing. He says, like eating junk food versus having healthy food. And he said, I got to keep my head in the game looking long term. And we started talking about what that meant. And he said, I've got this vision of where I want to be in 5 years, of the kind of work I want to be doing, the kind of clients I want to be working with, the kind of money I want to be making, what I want to be known for. He said, I got that vision. And then I have one for my family too. It's, what kind of relationship do I want to have with my significant other? What about with my kids? I have an idea of what I want to do for fun and be doing for fun and be a master at, right? Something that I could spend time on and gain mastery outside of work. And what does he want to be known for within his family? Those are the things he's thinking about. And he said, I need to focus my decisions on where I want to be long term. He said, if I can do that, I win. So we started talking about what could get in the way of that. Where do we screw that up? And I had this coach, really interesting woman. She was, we were working on a book. And I've got a couple ideas for books. I'm working on one, actively working on one. I got another one in the background. But this coach, she said, do this exercise with me, because what you're venturing into, this book writing thing, is hard. And there are going to be times when you want to quit. And times when you say, fuck this, I don't want to do this anymore. Or I just don't have time, and you're going to want to put it off. So she said, walk with me through this story. So, no BS sales team, walk with me through this story. Picture yourself on a perfect day. In my mind, a perfect day is a crisp weather, 55, 60 degrees, light breeze. Picture yourself in a place that's beautiful. I pictured myself in a field with a beautiful view over mountains, river down below. I see green trees everywhere, light breeze. And she said, picture yourself on a hike, and you're walking down this beautiful trail. And you walk along, and it's sometimes arduous, sometimes not, but you continue to walk, and you see these beautiful views, and eventually, some period of time later, you come in upon a cabin. It's a beautiful cabin in the woods. And you walk up, and you knock on the door, and out comes you. But you from 5 years from now. And maybe you can make it 20 years from now, but let's just say 5 years from now. And you are, the 5 years from now, you is successful. You're doing exactly what you dreamed, right, today. You're living that life. And you ask this future person of you, this future version of you, what do I need? Give me some advice. How do I make sure I get where you are? And I want you, No BS Sales Pro, to think about, what advice would 5 years in the future you tell you to encourage you to keep going? What would you tell yourself? What's that advice? What's a short piece of advice? Maybe 5 words. What could it be to encourage you? And so as I was going through that exercise, I'll show you what I found. And you're going to see it backwards if you're watching this on video, but that's okay. It's the sign that I keep that says, you can see it in reverse here. It says, keep moving. Some of y'all have heard that. That's my mantra anyways. Just keep moving. When something great happens, keep moving. When you get kicked in the teeth, which will probably happen a whole lot more than something great happening, keep moving. As long as you're moving, you're alive, and you got a chance to stay alive. If you stop and curl up in a ball, which is often the temptation, you're dead. Now, again, that's my advice to me. What's your advice to you to keep going, to get to your vision? What are those words? And when you think about those words, type them up. Put them somewhere you can see them. I've got mine, my sign that says keep moving in big red letters. It's probably in 48 size font. And I taped it at the bottom of my computer. So every day when I come in, I see that. It's a reminder that if I want to go where I want to go, I got to keep moving. So that's what I'm doing. So one of my visions is to have a program that's accessible to a lot of people. People that don't have good sales training available in their company. That it sucks or there's none. I don't know which is worse, have no sales training or shitty sales training. But one of my visions was to have this program that's available to almost anybody in sales that is willing to invest in themselves, that's open to making changes. So what I'd like to do is make an offer to you, No BS Sales Team, to join this program. And I'll give you a special discount as my podcast listener, 20% off. If you email me, Walker at walkermckay.com, with the headline podcast in the subject line. Email me when you hear this. Let's talk about what you're looking for, what you hope would happen, and whether or not it makes sense for you to join this program. It's available to you, but I don't want you as a client if it's not the right fit. I don't want your money if it's not the right fit. And I say that with sincerity from the bottom of my heart. I feel no pressure to sell you anything, but I want to make sure if you're out there in podcasts, if you're out there listening and part of the No BS sales team and you want training and you want to be a part of this and you've got a reason why it makes sense for you to get better, why you have to, might be the right fit for you. We can figure out a way to make it work and you'll get a podcast discount. So email me, Walker at walkermckay.com if you want to, and in the subject line, write podcast. And I'll reach back out to you. We'll have a 30-minute meeting and figure out whether or not it makes sense for you to join the program. If it's the right thing, I'd love to have you there. Love to get to know some of my listeners better. By the way, this is offered. It's a live program with training twice a week, very specialized. I want to make sure that it's something that you know is there, that because you're a listener, you want to be a part of. Let's have a conversation. I'm Walker with No BS Sales School. Thank you for listening. Keep moving. And whatever it is, the phrase that you need to tell yourself. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening to the No BS Sales School podcast. If you haven't already, please take 1 minute to write a quick review for the show. It really does make a huge difference. Also, subscribe to the show and please forward this episode to somebody else who needs to hear it. As a bonus for listening, I'm going to give you access to a free mini course, 7 expensive sales mistakes you're making and what you can do about it. Go to www.7salesmistakes.com and get access to the free mini course. That's the number 7salesmistakes.com. Thanks again for listening to the No BS Sales School podcast.